That is the actual plane that did that.
It's the actual plane that dropped the
Wow.
atomic bomb. Yep.
Hello, Lissa. Thank you so much for joining us for this episode. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you, Pavel?
I'm good. Thank you so much for asking. Doing fantastic. I'm looking forward to hear about Washington D.C. It's a place that I have never been to. But before that, before you show us around, I see you already
Yeah.
set the tone of the place.
Yep.
With
There
the
we go.
with the with the city in the background. But before we start walking the streets and experience what you want to share with us, we want to know more about you. So why don't you share a few sentences about you, a short bio, where you're from, who are you, what's happening with you, and the stage is yours.
Yeah, thanks. Well, thanks for having me on. This is very exciting. So, my name's Lissa Ryan, and I live in Northern Virginia area of the United States. I live right outside of Washington, D.C. I live with my husband and two kids. I am a travel advisor, so I specialize in luxury family vacations. But DC is near and dear to my heart. It's my hometown, and we just love going into the city and visiting. And there's so much opportunity and so much to see and do in our nation's capital. So I'm super excited to share that all with you.
Okay. I see the excitement. I feel the excitement already, and that makes me super happy. But before we start, I'm just curious how this passion for traveling, was born, and in at that level that you are actually advising other people how to travel. How all this happened?
Yeah, it kind of fell into my lap actually. I was a marketing professional after I graduated from college, and I then had my first child and decided to stay at home, be a stay at home mom. I was a stay at home mom for maybe 15 years, had two kids. And then it sort of fell in my lap. I was the family travel planner of the group, and I found that I really enjoyed planning our trips, and Disney in particular, Walt Disney World was a place that we always loved to travel, and I used to do all the work and taking care of all the preparation for that. And then I realized, hey, I was helping other people do plan their Disney trips. Hey, why don't I do it for a living? And I found out you can. So that's where that started. And then I've always loved traveling. I've traveled all around the United States. I haven't traveled too much internationally. Italy is probably the furthest I've ever traveled, but yeah, I love it. So that's how we got started, and I'm loving every moment of it.
I'm really happy with what you said, because one of the things that make me happy is that you are experiencing what's in your backyard, while many
Yeah,
people are like looking over the fence and then ignoring what's over there,
yeah.
while there are many things to see. And that's fantastic. Okay, so let's learn about the closest I've been to DC is Seattle. That's the closest one.
Oh my gosh, that's the other side of the country.
Yeah, I know. Well, I landed in Atlanta and I just went to the
Okay.
airport. So I don't count that. But I walk
Yeah.
in Seattle. So the other part I went in USA was Alaska. So that's even further. I don't count that. So I'm really curious what you're gonna share with us. Where are we gonna start from? I mean, I'm sure
Oh,
I'm sure there's an airport. Let's see
okay.
how we get there. I'm sure there's an
All right.
airport over there. How
All
can
right.
I get from the airport to the city, and then where shall I stay? Let's start with
All
that.
right. Sure. So we have two, technically three major airports. So if you're coming internationally, most likely you're going to be flying into Washington Dulles. So Washington Dulles is far west in Virginia. It's maybe about 30, 40 minutes into DC. So that's going to be if you're coming internationally, Dulles Airport. Then we have Washington Reagan. Now they've changed it so many times. Reagan National Airport.
Well,
So
you
Reagan,
changed the names of the airports.
yeah, well, it used to be just National Airport, and then years later it was called National Reagan National Airport. So Reagan National Airport is more of a domestic airport, and it's right outside of Washington D.C. And it's actually pretty cool to fly in there because you can see the monuments right there, right outside. You fly into Arlington, Virginia, and it's right across the Potomac River, and you can see the monuments. So it's pretty cool because you're right there. The
Mhm.
third airport is up in Maryland, Baltimore. You can see Baltimore up on the map there. It's only about an hour away. So you could technically fly into Baltimore International Airport as well, Baltimore Washington International. That's what BWI. But yeah, so that's where you fly in. So you can, if you fly into Dulles, the best way is basically take a transportation, like if you have a car, or take a taxi or Uber to DC. You can also take an Uber to a metro stop. They have a metro stop that's close to, here, let's see. You want to know where we're at? So let's see, I'm trying to look. So we see Arlington. Yeah, so you can see Arlington. So it's actually where you see where the Pentagon is in Arlington. That's near where the airport is. Just go down below. Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. It's a long name. You see that? So you can actually take a metro to DC from Virginia near Dulles Airport. They're actually expanding the metro. Metro is like our train transportation.
Underground system.
Underground system. Yep.
Okay.
And it goes through Maryland, it goes through DC and Virginia. So you can take the metro in from Virginia. You can, and there's a metro stop at Ronald Reagan Airport as well. So if you fly in there, you don't need a car. So yeah, so, and they're actually expanding the train system out to Dulles Airport. So several years from now, it should be ready. So yeah, so then you metro on in, and where would you stay? So if you are interested in all the history and the monuments, my recommendation is my recommendation is definitely stay near where the action is. So you can see the White House, the Capitol building. I would stay in, it's considered northwest area of DC. So DC's separated by quadrants. So you see where the United States Capitol building is? So if you go, that's sort of like the central point, right? So if you go over towards the, I'm doing my opposite here, but if you go to the left, that's northwest. If you go to the to the left or to the right up, that's like northeast, and then below it's southwest, southeast. So it's like 4 quadrants. So all the addresses will have like a northwest, southwest ending to it. But the Capitol building is the center of that quadrant. So that's pretty cool.
Okay, so somewhere around that area, you don't have any preferences. You just say stay somewhere in that area.
So I would recommend probably, well, we see the Trump International Hotel sort of up in that area, Grand Hyatt, Washington. They have some pretty cool historic hotels right by the White House. And maybe you're familiar with them. The one is called the Willard Hotel. It's a really old-fashioned hotel. The other one is Hotel Washington. There's some pretty notable people that have stayed in those hotels. I believe it's the Willard that Martin Luther King, you're familiar with Martin Luther King Jr.?
Yeah.
Yep. He wrote his I Have a Dream speech inside
over
the Willard. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then there's, of course, the Watergate Hotel. Are you familiar with the Watergate scandal? No. Okay. All right. So yeah, I don't know how much U.S. history. So President Nixon was impeached from the Watergate scandal.
That was okay. I know there was a movie about that I was going to watch, but I haven't yet.
Yes, Robert Redford. Yes.
What was the name of the movie? I'm gonna watch it after we finish.
What was the name of the movie?
Okay, I'll search it.
You'll figure it out.
I'll search it. Yeah. Okay.
No, but so we're looking at that greenery right by that. You see the Washington Monument? That greenery, that's called the mall, the Washington Mall. It's not like a shopping mall. It's called the mall. It's basically a grassy area with all the monuments. So any place along the mall. So one side is Independence Avenue. The other side is Constitution Avenue. So anywhere along there is a great location. Now, if you don't want to be that close, just stay near a metro stop. And then you can just, because there's metro stations right there at the mall. You can just take the metro there. So it's a good walking city too. So yeah, so that's what I would recommend in terms of where to stay. Just if you want to stay near all the monuments, there's a lot there. That Washington Mall, so you can see it's like a cross. So the Washington Monument's in the middle, the tall pencil in. Then you've got the Capitol building right here. You see it?
Yeah.
the US Capitol building. And then down, actually, probably right here is the World War II Memorial. It's
Okay.
really pretty. I can show you some pictures later. And then sort of over in this direction is the Lincoln Memorial. And then
The one that's
over
on the horse.
the horse.
Isn't he on a horse, or I'm just mistaking it?
Yeah, no, the Lincoln Memorial, he sits in a chair.
Oh no, it's the Washington statue that I'm thinking. Oh, the Lincoln Memorial on the yeah.
Yeah,
On yeah,
where
okay.
I Had a Dream speech was given in front of the Lincoln Memorial from Martin Luther King Jr.
Yeah, I was thinking about this one, the Washington statue, which is on the horse. I got confused.
Oh, the Washington. Oh, yeah. The Washington. No, yeah. Okay. And then, yeah, there's the Lincoln Memorial. And then, funny, interesting fact. So, and then over, you can't see it, but over in this direction, like right over here is where the Thomas Jefferson Memorial is. And then the White House is like over, kind of like, I'm trying to get like them backwards
Yeah.
here, but
Well,
over in this
don't worry.
direction.
I can save you from that. I can easily share
Yeah,
my
yeah, yeah.
screen.
Show me the map. Yeah,
And
see,
you can
it's
see
like
them. They're all lined
it's
up.
like a cross. So the Washington Monument is sort of the center. Now, here's the interesting
Mm-hmm.
thing. The Thomas Jefferson Memorial, Thomas Jefferson faces the White House. And
Okay.
his statue faces the White House, and it's sort of to signify that he's looking over the current president to make
Okay.
sure that they're, upholding, whatever is they wrote up in the Constitution. And so I
Uh-huh.
think that's kind of a cool fact. But yeah,
Okay.
so I love all the it's just a beautiful architecture area. I just love walking and reading about the different monuments and seeing the structures. You can go up to the top of the Washington Monument. You can either go in line day of and get tickets and go up to the top. You can also go online and purchase tickets like for a set time, so you don't have to wait in line. So that's really cool. And all of this is free. So the Lincoln Memorial, you can just walk up, go inside, check that out. United States Capitol building, obviously not now, is probably under pretty strict locked and
Mm-hmm.
key, but you can go in there. They do have a welcome center. You can do, but if you want to get a tour, you just have to contact your state representative and they'll give you a tour.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Thomas Jefferson Memorial, it's outside, so you can go and check that out. It's really pretty over there by the Tidal Basin. So that little body of water, that's considered the Tidal Basin. And in the springtime, the cherry blossoms are in full bloom, and it's a gorgeous sight. I don't know if you've ever seen the cherry blossoms around the river, but it's a really popular area. So that body of water that's on the bottom of the
Mm-hmm.
screen.
I've
So
seen I've seen
yeah,
pictures. I've seen pictures. A couple of things come to my mind. First of all,
yeah,
I didn't know that the Trump hotel was so close to the White
yeah,
House.
it is.
So it was just next to him. Wow. And then the second one is that we also have a mall in London, and
Oh,
it's a red street that leads to Buckingham Palace, and this is um where some ceremony related to the monarch are happening. And next to the Buckingham Palace, we also have Constitution Hill, which is quite similar to the constitution you have over there that you
yeah.
mentioned. Okay, so I just wanted to throw that and just tell you quickly something about London because it's
Yeah, no,
quite
that's
similar.
interesting.
It's quite
Yeah.
similar. Is there anything like interesting story or any other fact that you want to share about these things?
So let's see. There's also some other memorials along the mall there. It's not just those that we talked about. There's that World War II memorial.
Hmm.
It's probably the newest one there on the mall, though it's been there for a while. And I might have some pictures that I can share with you. Let me see, because we were actually there not too long ago. Let me find a good photo to share. It's really beautiful. Let's see.
And the Lincoln Memorial, the Washington Memorial. Sorry, how
Yeah,
much is that to go up?
you know what? It's free. Everything, pretty much, most everything in DC is free.
Wow.
The museums, I haven't even gotten to the museums yet. There's a ton of Smithsonian museums and they're all free. But I'm going to share, here's just one of the You see that? This is the World War II memorial. And you see all
Mhm.
these wreaths. These are all the states of America. And so this is a tribute to all the soldiers that fought in World War II. And
Yeah.
there's this beautiful fountain in the middle. This is my daughter. You can stick your feet in there. This was during the summer during COVID, so it doesn't look very crowded because it wasn't, which is actually a perfect place to go now because, the crowds, there's really um, nobody there. So that's kind of a fun place. But there's also the Korean War Memorial, the Vietnam War Memorial, which is very moving. What it is, it's
Mm.
a long wall, and it has all the soldiers that fought in the war. And I think it's actually might be, I'm not a history buff, so I'm just going to say that it might be all the soldiers that actually died in the war.
Okay.
But it's this huge wall, and it's unbelievable. You just walk and you see name after name after name. Um, it's kind of really moving. And then there's also the Franklin D. Roosevelt was one of our presidents,
Yeah.
famous presidents. He has a memorial, and there's a Martin Luther King memorial, which actually I got to show you. We just went there. It's really cool.
There are a lot of memorials. So you are right. This is where the action is happening. Actually, it seems like one day will not be enough to do all that.
Oh no, I mean we when we go, I mean we make it day trips, and we go and we visit a few museums or a few locations each time. I mean, you definitely you can spend a week even longer there. But let me show
Mm.
you. This is really cool. This is the Martin Luther King Memorial. Let me see how I
Yep.
get back.
Go ahead, share it. No,
Yeah,
what I meant is that not for whole Washington to be one day, but all
yeah,
that area, you're gonna need at least 2 days for that area itself.
yeah, yeah. So this is the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial. It's really spectacular. I don't think it's been there for too long. I had never been there, but um, I was really impressed by
Oh,
this
is it?
memorial.
It seems like it's been carved out of stone, and it's just like
Yeah,
the
and
stone that's being carved of is just staying there.
there's a there's a significance to it, and I need to remember. I was trying to Google it. I need to remember what the significance is. I think it has something to do with him bridging, the people together, for the
Mm.
civil rights, and there's some significance. I just don't remember what it is. I'm not a history buff, so I'm just saying that outright. So if I mess up something and somebody from the US is watching this, I am not a history person, so I apologize. But yeah, that's
There is always some symbolic, meaning behind this type of things.
yes,
Um,
yeah,
okay, so a lot of memorials, you can spend a lot of time there.
yeah.
What else we can do in the
Oh.
city?
So right along, right here is Constitution Avenue. So
Yeah.
Constitution Avenue, and actually Independence Avenue as well, museums after museums. So you have the Smithsonian Museums. You have so the popular ones are the Natural History Museum. So there you'll find like the dinosaur fossils, you'll
Mm-hmm.
find sea life, you'll find so one of the popular attractions is the Hope Diamond. It's like this gorgeous, huge diamond in a case.
Is that in
It's
the National History Museum?
that's a Natural History Museum.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then you have the American History Museum, another popular museum. Again, these are free. You just go in, they're free to see. Yeah, there's the Hope Diamond.
Yeah.
And then the American History Museum is pretty cool too. Yeah, see, isn't that pretty? American history has got a lot of pop culture artifacts, I guess you would call it. So the Wizard of Oz, you're familiar with the Wizard of Oz, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So you can find, yep, there's the central location of that's the natural history. Dorothy's slippers are in the American History Museum. So you can see the
No.
slippers from the actual movie. They also have the First Lady dresses, all the iconic dresses that the First Ladies wore. They have, and another big thing is the Star Spangled Banner flag. So the actual flag that inspired Francis Scott Key to write the Star Spangled Banner, which is our national anthem. So it's behind this.
Hold on. Say that again. Sorry.
Okay. So our national anthem is the Star Spangled Banner,
Yeah.
right? You probably might be familiar with that song, right? Oh, say, can you?
Yeah, I know. Yes, I know,
Yep,
because you have
that one.
stars on the flag as well. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So Francis Scott Key wrote the Star Spangled Banner. He's the
Okay.
composer. And he was inspired to write that song when it was during, I think it was during the Revolutionary War, again, here at my history. And I believe it was might be over in the Baltimore area, because I know he's from Baltimore. And he was inspired to write it because he saw the flag during one of the battles of the Revolutionary War. So that was how that song came about. He was inspired to write it because he could see the bombs and not fireworks, but the shootings out there, and there was a flag that was the American flag was there, and that's what inspired him to write the song. So the actual flag that was there is in the museum, and it's actually they used to have it where they would only open up it would have like a screen in front of it. They would only open it up every hour or so because, when you have it, exposed to light, it wouldn't, it would be degraded, right? So now they have it behind this glass type of dark room area where you can go and you can see it. So it's pretty cool. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Part of history. That's pretty cool. I also found the shoes.
Yeah. There you go.
From the woods there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Seems like it's
sometimes they have they have some other artifacts in there. Julia Childs, do you know who Julia Childs is?
No, tell me.
She's a famous American cook. A lot of times she'd be on TV a lot, so they have like her kitchen, and so we have that. And then another popular museum, Smithsonian Museum, is the Air and Space Museum. So the Air and Space Museum has tons and tons of artifacts there. So they have the Wright brothers, their first flyer. You're familiar with the Wright brothers? They flew the first plane.
Okay. They're
Okay,
in the
so
museum.
from North Carolina. Yeah, from North
Information about them.
Carolina. It's a lot of American history, so you might not know, which is fine. Charles Lindbergh, Charles Lindbergh, he had the first flight across the Atlantic, the Spirit of St. Louis. His plane's in there. Yeah, his plane's in there. And then the Apollo 11 command module, excuse me, is also in there.
It's also in there.
Yeah, so a lot of space, lots of like spaceships and history of space and aircrafts and flight. There's also another, while it's not in DC, it's over by Dulles Airport. There's a second Air and Space Museum. It's much larger, and it actually has a full-size space shuttle, the Space Shuttle Discovery, like the massive, it's almost like in a warehouse. It's called the Udvar Hazy Air and Space Museum out by Dulles. It also has the Enola Gay, which is the plane that dropped the atomic bomb on Hiroshima.
Is that the actual plane?
There's an actual plane, yeah, the Enola Gay.
That is the actual plane that did that.
It's the actual plane that dropped the atomic bomb. Yep. And then there's the Air France Concorde. Do you remember the Concordes with the nose? Yeah, they have one of those in there. And then the Blackbird, which is it's Lockheed Martin that built the Blackbird. It's the fastest airplane ever. They used it. It's like a spy airplane. So that's in there as well. So that's pretty cool. That's, again, out by Dulles Airport, but it's part of the Air and Space Museum.
So all this, it sounds to me is like a giant parking lot for aircrafts and spaceships.
Yeah, it's like a big warehouse. That's how I would describe it. It's a big warehouse.
So can you go inside those aircrafts? Oh, you can.
Okay. Well, inside the aircrafts. So not at the one, you can get up close and personal. You can't go inside. The one in DC, I believe you can go inside some of the space aircrafts. You can go in and you can see the command modules and stuff like that. Yeah, you can go in some.
And all these museums that you're mentioning, you said they're free?
They're free. The one out in Dulles they're all free. The one out in Dulles, you have to pay for parking, but the ones in DC, they're all free. All those Smithsonians are free. They also have the National Archives, which holds the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, so you can see the actual documents there. There's also, the newest museum actually is the National Museum of African, how is it called? The Museum of African American History and Culture. So that's the newest museum. It's down there around Constitution Avenue, and that's the history of like slavery and the civil rights movement and pop culture, African American pop culture. So that's a pretty cool one. There's also, my favorite, well, I shouldn't say it like that. The best museum ever. Again, you have to go on a day where you are prepared. The Holocaust Museum. Extremely from the Holocaust from
I
the.
understand what you mean. Your favorite now when you said that.
Yeah, not my favorite, but the best.
Okay, I understand what you mean.
They
As a
did
museum stand-up point, it's
yes,
a very good museum.
yes,
Okay.
Very, very impactful, very moving. I actually think that they recommend 14-year-olds and older go because it's that it's not for the faint of heart. You know what I mean? But it's true. It happened, right? So, but it's an excellent museum. That's free. We have the Bureau of Printing and Engraving, where they make the money, the U.S. money. And gosh, what else do we have? We have art museums. We have tons of art museums. We have modern art and portraits. Lots of exhibits that come through that are super fun. We also have a building museum. Oh, I got to show you this picture while you're looking up that. The building museum, it's not really that much to do in the building museum. It's about building, right? So not too exciting unless you're not maybe an architect. But every summer, they would always have exhibits that come in. And it's really fun to bring the kids. So let me see if I can find it. One year they called it The Beach. And it's basically, you're going to laugh. Okay, hold on. Let me get this. They called it The Beach. And it is
a beach.
It is one big ball pit. You see that?
Yeah. Did you jump in?
Yeah, that's my daughter jumping in. You can jump in.
Did you jump in?
No, I didn't jump in. But yes, it was one big ball pit. And then one year, I'm going to find another photo. One year we went and it was like a human maze. It was cool. Okay, here it is. Let's see.
So it's like a theme. They change it every year, you would say?
Yeah, like in the summertime, they would do that often. So let's see if I can find, here we go. So this is like a human maze. So this is from up above and you can see this is part of the maze. So, but a lot of times you can see this is part of a column right here. Yep. So a lot of times they have a lot of galas in there, especially around the inauguration time where they have all the parties after the presidential inauguration. This building, it's a beautiful building. It's just got tall, high ceilings, but they have but you can go and visit there and they have history of buildings, I guess, and architecture. So they have that. And then they have, there's the one museum that you do pay for. It's called the International Spy Museum. That is probably the one museum I haven't been in yet, but I've heard that's really, really exciting. So I guess you learn about, spying and and that kind of stuff. But I will say that getting around the city, the metro is super easy. You just get, it's probably like any other train, underground system. You get a card, you swipe, when you get on, and you swipe when you get off. Super convenient. And you can also do bus tours in the city. They have hop on, hop off, sometimes have the double deckers.
Where do I buy the transportation card?
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's Union Station. So Union Station is like a hub, like a central, it's right by the U.S. Capitol building, Union Station. So what it is, it's the I guess every city, right? It's kind of like a Grand Central Station in New
Mm-hmm.
York, right? Doesn't every city seem to have like a
Okay.
big central? So it's called Union Station. They have shops, they have restaurants in there, but they have also have a lot of tour desks in there. So you can go there and you can get tickets to these hop on, hop off bus tours. You can go online and you can get it. So we did. Yep, there's Union Station. And yes, so we did a duck tour. Have you ever heard of the duck tours?
Are you
Okay,
looking
so
for ducks in that
I should
tour?
have grabbed. Yeah, you gotta look this up. This is pretty cool. Actually, I don't have a photo of it. It's a
I'll
duck tour.
find
So
one.
here, you're ready for this. So they have them in some U.S. cities. I know they have one up in Boston. It's a bus and a
Oh
boat
yes.
combo. Have you seen those? Okay.
Yes, I have seen. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yep. There you go. DC ducks. Yep. So it goes on land and then it goes to the river. So you can see that picture. It goes right into the river and turns into a boat.
Uh-huh.
So we did that. And then they give you these really annoying
Ducks.
ducks that you quack the whole way and they give to you. Yeah. And then, but it's fun. They let the kids drive when you're out in the water. They have the kids come up and they let them drive the boat. So that's kind of cool. So it's fun for the kids. So they have that, and it goes right by National Airport. So you can use the planes literally go right over your head. So it's right there on the Potomac River. So that's pretty fun.
That's
So,
nice.
yeah, so you can do that. Oh, you know what else they do? They have nowadays you can rent bikes right down there near the mall. They have places you can rent bikes. You can
Mm-hmm.
rent those electric scooters, and you can do that. Those are pretty fun to do if you want to get around and you don't want to walk. You can do that as well. But yeah, it's a fun walking city. It's very safe over in that area. So families, it's a great area, and they all have yeah, and they also have we also have a theater district. So probably not as nice as London's theater district or Broadway in New York, but we do have some theaters. Kennedy Center. Have you ever heard of the Kennedy Center?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So a lot of times they have every year a Kennedy Center presents on TV, and they have like a notable like the president will go be there, and it's just an arts type of gala. And but we have a lot of traveling shows that come through there. Hamilton, you're familiar with Hamilton, right? The musical
Yes,
Hamilton
yes. Mm-hmm.
has come through there. A lot of the big touring
So are all
companies.
these theaters that you have there in one district, like few streets neighboring to
No,
each other?
not really. So the Kennedy Center is over by the border of Virginia, so by the water. And then there is they have right by the White House would be some of the theaters, like they have the Warner Theater, the National Theater, over there, like by the White House. So that's sort of the section. So not really, not like London's theater district. No.
Mm-hmm.
But that's nice. Oh, and then you know what else we have? We have Ford's Theater. So Ford's Theater is a little bit further out, closer to right off of Constitution. It's not far, but it's further down. And Ford's Theater is where Abraham Lincoln was shot. The story of Abraham Lincoln was shot by John Wilkes Booth. Lincoln was there watching a play. He had an actual booth that he was in, and some guy came up on stage and just shot him cold. So that's pretty cool. They have an actual museum at the bottom. If the Ford's Theater is an actual theater, they have shows there. It's a small theater, but they also have his booth there that is blocked off now, but you can actually see the booth where he was
Oh, nice.
shot. And then if you go across the street, he was taken to this home across the street
Mm-hmm.
where he actually died. And so you can see like the bed he was laid in, and yeah, historic site. Yeah, that's his booth with the flag over
Mm-hmm.
it. One of the chairs that is in the booth. So, and downstairs in the basement, there's a museum talks about his legacy as well, Lincoln's legacy. So
Okay, so they kept the theater and then they created a museum underground as well.
yeah, but it's still a working theater. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
yeah.
yeah, yeah, it's a working theater. So, and you can see there's the booth with the flags.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he was shot.
And nobody's going there. It's just staying. like that, like a
Yeah,
preservation?
nobody goes in there. You can look in it from the backside, you can look in, but yeah, you can't go in there and sit in the chairs or anything.
Hmm.
So,
All right, all
yeah.
right. Well, uh, do you have any places that we can eat in?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
So, DC is not really known for a
food.
particular cuisine. You know, we are this city is like a melting pot, really. It truly is. We
What do
have
you mean by
people.
that?
Oh, you've
Like
never heard the
many,
term melting
like many
pot?
cultures?
Yeah, many cultures. You never
Ah,
heard that
okay.
phrase. Interesting. Okay,
No,
it's so fun.
yeah.
Yeah, melting pot. Yeah.
So okay,
Uh,
before actually tell me, because you said this is not known for culture, for cuisine,
yes.
is there anything, I mean, apart from, the White House,
Mhm.
and being the capital, is there anything that DC is known for? Is there something else?
Besides the monuments, you mean?
Yeah, besides what we talk, beside the White House and the
Yeah.
presidency, is there
Um,
something else? So, for example, Philadelphia is not that far away, and then
Right.
I had a podcast with a girl from Philadelphia, and she said, one of the things Philadelphia, it's Philly cheesesteak.
Oh, yeah.
You see, she's like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not. So I was just wondering if there is something, specific,
Mhm.
extra from those. I mean, it's already difficult because we already mentioned a lot of things that are, come in people's mind
Yeah.
when you mention Washington. But I was wondering if there is something else that you have there.
So not really, because I'm from New York, so I'm familiar with, New York pizza, New York bagels, and
Oh, the
pasta.
dollar slice pizza.
Yeah, dollar slice pizza, exactly. No, you know what? There really isn't anything. It truly is a melting pot. You've got Italian, you've got Middle Eastern, you've got
Yeah.
Chinese and Spanish and tapas. One of the I guess if you would say one of the most popular chefs in the DC area is Jose Andres. He's from Spain,
Uh-huh.
and
Sounds right.
he yes, yeah, right. He has a lot of restaurants in DC, a lot of restaurants, and his most famous one's called Haleo, and it's a tapas restaurant. So, obviously from Spain, tapas. But he's a famous chef. He's on a lot of those chef shows that you see on TV, like Iron
Yeah.
Chef, and but
Uh-huh.
he's got, if anything, you think of DC, you probably think of Jose Andres. So
Mm.
there's also a place, now I've never been, I would love to go one day. I just don't know why I've never made it there because maybe it's a little further away from where we usually go in the city. There's a place called Ben's Chili Bowl. And it's, from what I understand, a kind of a hole in the wall type of restaurant. But I know President Obama was there. It's very popular. Little,
Oh,
little, again, hole in the wall.
is
Ben's
that the
Chili
one you're
Bowl.
talking about?
Yep, Ben's Chili Bowl.
Well, how is that hole in the wall? It's just,
Well, hole in the wall, it's not like it's like a little fast food place, right?
yeah.
You wouldn't expect anybody it to be a popular location, right?
Oh, in that sense, yeah, you wouldn't
Yeah.
expect to be a popular
Yeah,
one.
it's like it's not gourmet food per se. See, yeah, you could see Ben's Chili Bowl. So yeah,
Okay.
it's quite popular, and I know the president has been in there, or the former presidents have been in there, and
Yeah.
yeah, so it's a great place to go.
What's
Apparently,
so popular about it? They make burgers.
they make burgers and I guess the chili bowls. See, it says a Washington landmark since 19, what does that say, 59? Yeah.
I think so,
So,
yeah.
yeah. So I guess that place would be, let me
Hmm.
think, where else? Where
Okay.
else?
Yeah, where have you been? Where do you eat when you go there?
So we typically eat, a lot of times if we do go eat in DC, it's right before we go to the theaters there. So yeah, doesn't look appetizing to me, but
Yeah, I was just thinking about
a
that.
little too much cheese for me, but but that's like that's kind of classic American food though, right there.
Hmm.
Hamburgers and French fries.
Yeah.
That's pretty, that's as American as you can get. Hot dogs. So yeah, that's the appeal of it, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. From pictures, it doesn't seem very appealing. But yeah, if watching the long queue that is waiting to go inside,
I know, right?
you know what they say. If there are a lot of people inside, something must be happening right.
Yep,
Um,
yep.
but yeah. Okay. So where do you eat then? What else you
Oh,
can? What?
so we usually go to the restaurants near the theater. So there's a great restaurant. It's been there for a long time called Old Ebbitt Grill. It's sort of a classic type of DC restaurant. They've it's American fare. Um, they switch out some of the restaurants downtown there, right there. But yeah, there's Old Ebbitt Grill. It's kind of gets that um, old feel
Vibe.
to it. Yeah. So
Okay,
usually that.
seems it seems similar to what we call here a pub in
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like a
in
pub.
UK. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and then along where the Smithsonian's are on Constitution Avenue, there's tons of food trucks. Are food trucks big where you guys are at?
No, but they're
No?
very big in USA. I know that.
Yes. Yeah. So there's tons of food trucks right along Constitution Avenue. So that's a popular place for people to grab something. Like I said, all different types of food from Mexican to you name the culture and that's there. So
Hmm.
yeah, and they got the hot dog stands there, like you would see in New York City. So yeah, we're not really known for the food, not like Philly or New York. Not really, a foodie type place. I mean, there's some great restaurants, but
Yeah,
just not really known for anything in particular, I guess you would say.
I see. Well,
Yeah.
okay. I think we talk about what we can see. We talk about where we can eat. We talk about transportation. Is there anything else you think that is needed for somebody who will be visiting Washington D.C.?
Well, there's a few other places that I would recommend visiting. We have a really great national zoo, and that's further up in the Northwest corridor. But what it's known for are the giant pandas. And
Giant pandas.
giant pandas, yeah, they're adorable. They have a panda cam. You could go on the panda cam right now and watch the pandas in action in their little habitat. It's really cool. Like 24 hours, they have a panda cam. So a lot of people go to there and they like to look at the pandas. Yeah. Yeah. Are you looking it up now?
Yeah,
Yeah.
giant pan. Okay, that is
Yeah.
so
The giant,
interesting.
the giant
Okay,
pandas.
so you don't actually need to go to the zoo. You can
No,
just
you
go
can
to
just
the
see them. Yeah, there they are. Okay. Now click on
panda camp.
yeah. Let's see. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Let's see
You're
where
you're
they
observing the pandas all the time, and what a
where
surprise! There are no pandas.
All right. What happens if you hit on camera two, cam two?
What is that?
The
Oh,
cam,
okay.
yeah, cam two. I'm pushing it like
Okay. Oh my
see if
God, they
they're up
even have two
there.
cameras. Imagine they
They have two cameras.
advance more, and they put cameras all over the place. Oh, look at that.
There it is.
Pandas sleeping.
Sleeping, yeah.
Oh dear, I can't imagine, people staying and watching pandas walking around. I mean, you can probably go and observe for a bit, see what they're doing. But
Yeah.
do you think there are people sitting and watching that?
Apparently.
I think there are. First of all, there are people for everything, and second, this is like Big Brother, just with
Yes, it
pandas.
is. It is. It is.
Panda cow.
Panda
That is
Cam, yep, look
crazy.
at the Panda Cam. So, another great place you could go to is Arlington Cemetery. While, I mean, that may not sound that appealing,
Wow.
a
Yeah.
cemetery,
Okay.
but it's actually a very historic place. It's right across from the Lincoln Memorial, across the water in Virginia,
Mhm.
and it is where many of the US military are buried. It's a massive cemetery. And the popular sites there is the grave site of John F. Kennedy is there.
Oh, he's there.
And also they have the Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers. See, there's the cemetery. Yeah. And yeah, those are all the gravestones. Yep. Oh, see, Tomb of the Unknown Soldiers. So that's what I was
Yeah.
going to explain. So there are some soldiers. I think it started with World War I, where it's, they just didn't have very good record keeping. And sometimes soldiers are, die in battle and they don't know who they are and they bury them here.
Yeah.
And they have military, I think they're called the Old Guard, the US military, that actually watch over the tombstones of the unknown soldiers 24/7. And it's like a changing of the guards.
Wow.
Yeah, they do a changing of the guards there. I want to say maybe every hour or so. So you can go and watch that, probably similar to what you all have, the changing of the guards, right? What is
Mm.
it, Buckingham Palace? They do that, right?
Yeah, but why are they watching the grave of the unknown
Well,
soldier?
I think what may happen, it's just more of respect. But I think what was happening is people would like walk on these grave sites.
Oh,
And
really?
so I think during the daytime they used to have soldiers walk over them and watch over them to make sure that, it's just more of a sign of respect. Like these are
Mm,
people who fought in battle. It's just more of a traditional thing that they just now have continued through the years. That's my understanding of it. So
I
yeah, so
see.
that's pretty cool. And then also a little bit further away from DC in Virginia
Mm,
is the Mount Vernon, which is where George Washington lived, right on the Potomac
mm,
River. So you can go, it's right past National Airport. You go down the George Washington Parkway and you're at Mount Vernon. It's a very woodsy area, but it's really beautiful right on the water. You can go into George Washington's home. They have a lot of the furnishings still left there. And yeah, you can tour the house, and they have the slave quarters you can tour there because he did, are in the South. They did have slaves. So yeah, that's pretty cool. The Mount Vernon as well.
mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of US history. Lots to see and do if you're a US history buff. You can learn a lot.
Yeah, I can
So
see that. It's it
yeah.
can take easily a week over there
Oh yeah.
and spend it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
even more, yeah, more, yeah, even more so. And then if you come in the summertime, like around 4th of July or Independence Day,
Yeah,
they do fireworks right here over the
the memorial.
yep, people are on this mall, they're packed like sardines, and they do the fireworks right there. I mean, it's, how patriotic can you get, right? Fireworks over the Washington Monument in the middle of DC on Independence Day. So,
Have you been
yeah.
there at that time?
I have. So I haven't been in the crowds. I've been
Yeah.
at the Hotel Washington watching from the comfort of a hotel room. And I've seen, and you see it. And then I have been, there's a mall over across the river where we would go to the top of the parking garage and watch from there. Because after the fireworks go, the crowds it takes forever to get home because it's so
Yeah.
congested. So,
Yeah.
and you really have to, if you are going to be at the mall, you have to be there early in the morning to get a spot, and you have to hang out there all day in
Mm.
July in the heat and the thunderstorms that come in because you can see there's no covering there.
Same as New Year's fireworks here in London.
Oh,
It's just not super hot. It's
yeah,
cold, and then
yeah,
you need to be there from early. It's super crowded, and takes ages to go back home. Yeah,
yeah,
I understand what you mean.
yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else? I think
Mm.
we covered a lot,
We
but
covered a lot.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe if you wanna close it up with some final words about the city.
Gosh. Yeah, don't, yeah, just plan out what you want to do. I mean, there's just so much opportunity. There's so many, if whatever you're interested in, history, art, you know, really just there's so much to do, space and airplanes and I don't know if I really there's just so much to see and do and make it more than one trip. It's just a really symbolic area and just a really great place to learn and um, I just love it. I love it. It's and it's interesting. So I don't know if you know this, but the way our streets are set up, I think it was taken after. Oh no, yeah, oh yeah, the cross. I thought you were
Yeah.
saying cut,
No, no, no.
cut.
No, no, no. They're like a grid, aren't they?
It's
Is
like
that
a
what you mean?
grid, yeah. And I think it was a Frenchman who actually designed the layout of the city. So we've got um, lettered streets A, B, C, D, and then and then intersecting number streets like 1, 2, 3. First
Mhm.
street, second street, that kind of thing. But then every so often you'll get to what do they call them? Circles, like rotaries.
Like a roundabout?
Roundabouts, yeah, yeah, roundabouts. So they'll have tons of roundabouts in the city.
Yeah.
So, it's like my favorite part from European Vacation. You ever see that movie?
Yes.
European Vacation, where kids, Big Ben, Parliament.
Yeah.
Remember that scene? That was
Oh,
my
and then
favorite.
it keeps going.
He gets stuck in the roundabout. I love that.
Because a
Yeah.
roundabout, are they a big thing in USA? I don't think
No,
so.
not really. Not
Right?
really. No, not really,
Hmm.
no. That's what I'm saying. I think it was taken after, some European cities. That's how
Uh-huh.
it was definitely a Frenchman that designed the layout of the city. So,
Yeah, because when I zoom in the city earlier, I noticed that they're not actually as grid. So, for example, when I went to Seattle, they're really, really, gridded the streets,
uh, yeah.
and it's really easy, to be fair, because for example, Bulgaria, it has long history, and the streets, they haven't touched them since ages, and they're just, tiny little streets going nowhere, finishing the name of the street is finishing in the middle of the street. It's a bit confusing, while here, you you start from the you start from one point, and then just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you can even count in your head, okay, third block, fourth block. It's easy to navigate, I think.
Yeah, it's a little bit, yeah, it's easy, but then it gets confusing though with the roundabouts. And then you have
Really.
random streets coming through. They have Pennsylvania Avenue and Massachusetts Avenue.
Hmm.
So, and then you get a little bit confused, but yeah,
Yep.
it's
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Bottom line, make your research and see what you want to do, because
yeah.
chances are most likely you're gonna find that in Washington D.C.
Oh, you're
Just.
gonna find it all. And the great part is that, like I said, majority is admissions free to majority of the museums, the monuments. So it's definitely a great place. You don't have to budget too much. Just go where you want to go and just enjoy the scenery. It does get cold here in the winter.
Mhm.
We do get snow here. So summer times usually where most of the tourists are out, but I never really see it to get too crowded where it's the best time of year to come. Probably when the weather's nice, spring, fall, but really any time of year. I'm sure the winter time it's nice as well, but and especially during times like these, if we're in COVID, hanging out outside and seeing the monuments, it's a great place to
Mhm.
go. We did that this summer and we didn't have to go indoors anywhere and the crowds were low. So highly recommend it. So
Great. That was perfect ending. Well, thanks so much for joining, Lisa.
thank
We will leave in the description information about you and how people can get in touch with you. So if anyone needs information about Washington or Disney tours, they can happily send you a message, and then you can take it from there. Thanks
yeah.
so much for joining, and I wish you a fantastic day.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.